couple of games. How's that feel? I wouldn't! You don't think I will? You don't think I will? No. No, I wouldn't. That's why I'm not gonna leave it up to me. Heads, you gotta keep your head. Tails, not so lucky. So, you wanna tell me about the Joker? Let's go again. I don't know anything! Don't! You're not playing the odds, friend. Let's do it again.
You'd leave a man's life to chance?
Not exactly.
His name's Schiff, Thomas. He's a paranoid schizophrenic. Former patient at Arkham, the kind of mind the Joker attracts. What do you expect to learn from him?
In The Dark Knight 2008, the character of Harvey Dent, later transformed into the disfigured and morally fractured criminal known as Two-Face, embodies one of the most tragic and philosophically complex figures in modern cinema. His descent from Gotham's White Knight into its darkest villain is not merely a fall from grace, it is a metamorphosis into chaos itself, a living embodiment of chance, fate, and nihilism. Two-Face is not simply a criminal driven by revenge, but a distorted manifestation of human frailty, the embodiment of life's cruel indifference. His infamous coin, marked by pristine perfection on one side and scarred imperfection on the other, becomes a symbol of his warped worldview, a cosmic judge in his pocket, delivering life or death with a flip of fate. The brilliance of Two-Face lies in the simplicity of his philosophy. Unlike the Joker, who thrives on unpredictable anarchy, or Batman, who clings to his unwavering moral code, Two-Face surrenders to the arbitrary cruelty of chance. His worldview strips away pretense. It denies justice, morality, and free will, leaving only the cold, mathematical impartiality of a coin flip. Yet beneath this nihilism, it lies a profound reflection on human nature. How far can a man be pushed before he breaks? When justice fails, does fate become the only true arbiter?
Now what? You need someone to shake it for you?
Hello.
Dent. Jesus. I thought you was dead.
Half. Who picked up Rachel words?
You must have been Maroney's man.
Shut up! Are you telling me that you're gonna protect the other traitor in Gordon's unit?
I don't know. He never told me. Listen, Dent, I swear to God, I didn't know what they were going to do to you.
That's funny. Because I don't know what's gonna happen to you either.
Before the coin became his god, before his face was split into beauty and ruin, Harvey Dent was Gotham's hope. As the city's district attorney, he symbolized the last flickering candle of justice, in a place where corruption snuffed out idealism. Dent wasn't just another prosecutor. He was a man on a mission, driven by an unshakable belief in the supremacy of law over chaos. In the courtrooms, Dent was fearless. He was a crusader whose voice cut through the lies of Gotham's criminal underworld. His confidence was unwavering, and he stared down mobsters and crooked cops with a boldness that made him a symbol of incorruptibility. Unlike Batman, who operated in the shadows, Dent was justice in the daylight. He didn't wear a mask. He didn't need to. But his flaw, the tragic flaw that would lead to his downfall, was his belief in the fairness of the system. He places faith in institutions designed by men, failing to see that these systems were as fallible and as corrupt as the people who ran them. He believed that justice could be delivered by human hands and that morality could triumph through the mechanisms of law. His relationship with Rachel Dawes was another pillar of his hope. With her, he saw a future where love and justice could coexist, where he could be more than Gotham's defender, but he could be a man with a life beyond the courtroom. But in Gotham, hope is a fragile thing. The turning point in Harvey Dent's tragedy comes not with his disfigurement, but with the betrayal of the system he had trusted. When Rachel is taken by the Joker's men and Dent is tied to a gasoline drum, he doesn't simply endure physical pain, he endures the shattering of his worldview. The Joker, ever the agent of chaos, he doesn't just set a trap, he gives Dent a twisted choice. The Joker makes him a participant in the randomness of suffering. Dent is forced to confront a rigged game, the very embodiment of injustice. And when Batman arrives and saves Dent instead of Rachel, Harvey's world splits in two. Half his face burns in the fire, but the real damage is internal, the disfigurement of his own soul. Rachel, the woman who represented hope, is gone, and the system that Dent believed in, the one where the good guys win, it fails him. As he lies in the hospital, his face mangled and his future stolen, his belief in justice dies. And in its place, something darker is born. And when he looks at his reflection for the first time after the accident, he doesn't just see a grotesque face. He sees the lie of fairness made manifest. The man who once stood as Gotham's beacon of justice is now a walking scar, proof that fate plays no favorites. And in his moment of despair, the Joker offers him a new philosophy. See, Joker doesn't try to persuade Dent with his own words. He gives him a coin, the same coin that Dent once used to playfully charm Rachel, the symbol of his love. Now it becomes his moral compass. But in this new world, the coin is no longer a game, but it's a law now. His transformation is not simply a descent into madness, it's more of a philosophical awakening. His new ideology is built on one fundamental truth, that chance is the only justice that exists. The coin is perfect. It cannot be bribed, it cannot be corrupted, or cannot be swayed. It is utterly impartial and it cannot be bargained with. It is the one thing that can never betray him. The coin liberates Den from the burden of decision making. With it, he no longer has to wrestle with morality or conscience. The coin absolves him of guilt. It is fate, not Harvey Dent, who decides on who lives or who dies. So Two Face's nihilism is also not merely madness here, but it's the ultimate expression of surrender. Where once he fought for justice with unyielding determination, he now offers only indifference. His cruelty is impersonal. There is no malice in his actions, only the cold indifference of fate. And when he flips the coin for Jim Gordon's son at the end, it is not out of hatred, but out of fairness. He offers Gordon's family the same chance he himself was denied. In his mind, the randomness of the coin is true justice, far purer than the courts or the police force. And this is why his philosophy is so chilling here, because it's not driven by greed or revenge, but it's driven by principle. The randomness of his coin is now his new moral code. He sees himself not as a villain, but as an arbiter of fairness, one whose hands are clean because they are guided by fate. And his coin is more than just a gimmick. It is the embodiment of his ideology. And unlike Batman, who wields symbols to inspire hope, or the Joker, who wields chaos as a weapon, Two-Face uses the coin as a philosophical equalizer. When he flips the coin for the mobsters, he's not seeking vengeance, he is offering fairness. And when he flips it for Gordon's son, he is not being cruel, he is demonstrating the equality of suffering. The coin is mercilessly just. It neither favors the guilty nor spares the innocent. To Dent, this is true justice, one that is free of bias, free of human error, and the courts, they betrayed him. The law failed him, but the coin never will. The tragedy of Two-Face is amplified by his contrast with Batman, because both men are broken by the Joker's pain, but their responses to pain, they both diverge. Batman, he clings to control. He refuses to surrender, even as Gotham crumbles around him. His willpower hardens him in the face of suffering. Two-Face, however, he succumbs to the chaos. He accepts the Joker's gospel that fairness is an illusion and suffering is random. And in his final confrontation, Batman's refusal to accept chance, it becomes his greatest strength. While Two-Face's surrender to it, his surrender to it becomes his downfall. Even as Batman dangles Gordon's son over the edge, he refuses to give in to chance. He makes a deliberate choice to save the child and let himself fall. And Batman's defiance is not just a physical act, but a moral rejection of the randomness Two-Face worships. He proves that while chaos is inevitable, surrendering to it is not. In the end, Harvey Dent dies long before his body does. The man who once fought for fairness with unwavering resolve is reduced to a servant of fate. The tragedy is not simply that Dent becomes a villain, it is that he becomes what he once despised. In The Dark Knight, Two-Face is not a mere gangster or a madman. He's a fallen idealist, a man who stared into the abyss and embraced it. His philosophy is not insanity, it is the bitter wisdom of a man who has lost everything. And when Batman and Gordon agree to cover up his crimes, they do so not just to protect his legacy, but to preserve the illusion of justice, the very illusion that Dent himself could no longer believe in.
No! No! No, not me! Why are you coming for me? Rachel! Rachel!
Harvey. Okay.
Rachel!
Some.
Rachel!
Where were you?
Worried you'd have to step up?
Harvey, I know these briefs backwards.
Well then, fair's fair. Heads, I'll take it. Tailsies, all yours.
Oh, yeah? You want to flip a coin to see who leads?
It's my father's lucky coin. As I recall, it got me my first date with you.
I wouldn't leave something like that up to chance.
I don't. I make my own luck.
All rise. The Honorable Judge Friedel presiding.
I thought the DA just played golf with the mayor, things like that.
Tee-off's 1:30. More than enough time to put you away for life, Sally. With Carmine Falcone and Arkham, someone must have stepped up to run the so-called family. Is that man in this courtroom today? Could you identify him for us, please?
You win, counselor. It was me.
I have a sworn statement from you that this man, Salvatore Maroni, is the new head of the Falcone crime family.
Maroni? He's a fall guy. I'm the brains of the organization.
Order.
Permission to treat the witness as hostile.
Granted.
Hostile?
I see you hostile!
Carbon fiber, 28 caliber, made in China. If you want to kill a public servant, Mr. Maroni, I recommend you buy American.
Get him out of it.
But Your Honor, I'm not done.
Two-Face and Batman are both two sides of the same coin, literally and metaphorically. Both men carry deep scars, physical and emotional. Both suffer from loss and betrayal. Both are driven by a desire for justice. And both must grapple with duality. However, the difference lies in how they manage their inner conflict. So Batman, despite his rage and his grief, he holds himself to a code. His moral compass, no matter how compromised it is, it keeps him anchored. Two-Face, on the other hand, he surrenders to the chaos. His binary sense of justice, fairness dictated by chance, it replaces all sense of compassion or reason. And in their climactic confrontation, Batman's refusal to submit to chaos, it defines the stark difference between the two. So, in their clash, his self-restraint, Batman's self-restraint, is the only thing separating him from Dent. Because both men are scarred, both are broken, but Batman, he chooses discipline, while Dent chooses destruction. And Two-Face is not simply a villain, because he is Gotham himself. His transformation from the White Knight to fallen monster symbolizes the city's own descent into moral ambiguity. When Gotham is given hope, it is through Dent, the face of law and order. And when Gotham is plunged into despair, it is through Two-Face's indiscriminate vengeance. He is the city's twisted reflection. The man who once fought for justice now uses its symbols to commit atrocities. His scorched face is a perfect metaphor for Gotham's dual nature, one side yearning for redemption and the other consumed by darkness.
The Joker killed Gordon. He's gonna kill Rachel. You're the symbol of hope. I could never be. Your stand against organized crime is the first legitimate ray of light in Gotham in decades. If anyone saw this, everything would be undone. All the criminals you pulled off the streets would be released, and Jim Gordon will have died for nothing. You're gonna hold a press conference tomorrow morning.
Why?
No one else will die because of me. Gotham's in your hands now.
You can't. You can't give in. You can't give in!
Hi. You know, I don't want there to be any hard feelings between us, Harvey. When you and, Rachel were being abducted, I was sitting in Gordon's cage. Now, I didn't rig those charges.
Your man. Your plan.
Do I really look like a guy with a plan? You know what I am? I'm a dog chasing cars. I wouldn't know what to do with one if I caught it. You know, I just do things. The mob has plans. The cops have plans. Gordon's got plans. They're schemers. Schemers trying to control their little worlds. I'm not a schemer. I try to show the schemers how pathetic their attempts to control things really are. So when I say, come here, when I say that you and your girlfriend was nothing personal, you know that I'm telling the truth. It's the schemers that put you where you are. You were a schemer, you had plans, and look where that got you. I just did what I do best. I took your little plan and I turned it on itself. Look what I did to this city with a few drums of gas and a couple of bullets. You know what I noticed? Nobody panics when things go according to plan, even if the plan is horrifying. If tomorrow I tell the press that like a gangbanger will get shot, or a truckload of soldiers will be blowing up, nobody panics, because it's all part of the plan. When I say that one little old mare will die, well, then everyone loses their minds. Introduce a little anarchy. Upset the established order, and everything becomes chaos. I'm an agent of chaos. Oh, and you know the thing about chaos? It's fair. You live. You die. Now we're talking.
Two-Face and the Joker both represent nihilism, but in radically different forms. While the Joker, while he embraces chaos as a form of liberation, Two-Face, he sees chaos as the only remaining form of justice. The Joker is gleefully destructive, reveling in the obliteration of social structures and morality. He wants to watch the world burn because he finds it amusing, and his nihilism is anarchic, a rejection of order through gleeful destruction. Two-Face, on the other hand, is more of a solemn nihilist. He doesn't take pleasure in his violence, but it's simply necessary. His nihilism is not performative or theatrical. It is cold, it's detached, and it's methodical. He doesn't seek power or dominance. He seeks balance through destruction, believing that chance is the only impartial judge. So when he holds Commissioner Gordon's son at gunpoint, it's not out of cruelty once again. So once again, it's not out of cruelty, but rather because fate doesn't care for innocence. To Two-Face, the child is no different from the corrupt officials who betrayed Gotham. If the coin falls on the scarred side, then the child will die, not because of malice, but because the universe makes no distinction. Innocence, guilt, and morality are irrelevant in a world that is ruled by chaos. And the tragedy of Two-Face lies in the glaring contrast between who he was and who he becomes. In the beginning, Harvey Dent believed in people. He believed that Gotham could be saved, that good could triumph over evil, that justice could prevail. When Rachel is taken from him, and when Gotham's institutions betray him, he realizes that his faith was misplaced. His scarred face becomes a physical manifestation of his existential crisis. One side still clinging to the remnants of justice, the other side given entirely to chaos. But in truth, both sides are lost because the scarred side is not the evil side. It is simply the exposed truth of the world as he now sees it. The clean side is not good. It's merely a remnant of a man who no longer exists. So when Batman tackles him off the ledge at the film's climax, it's Harvey Dent who dies, not Two-Face. Harvey's death is symbolic. It marks the final death of Gotham's hope, the shattering of its white knight. Two-Face's fall is not just the fall of a man, it's the collapse of an ideal. And in The Dark Knight, he is a manifestation of Gotham's moral decay. His transformation reflects the city's own descent into moral ambiguity. And Gotham, much like Harvey, is scarred. It clings to the illusion of order, but underneath, it is fractured and corrupt. The institutions that are meant to protect the people are complicit in their suffering. The police, the courts, and the politicians are all corrupted by the mob's influence. And Harvey's fall reveals that there is no justice, only power. In this sense, Two-Face is Gotham made flesh, beautiful on one side, mutilated on the other. And the city, like Harvey, still pretends to have a face of justice, but the scars reveal, so pretty much the scars beneath, they reveal its true broken nature. And Two-Face represents nihilism. He represents it in its purest form. His worldview is not driven by cruelty, malice, or madness. It's driven by the cold acceptance of meaninglessness. He doesn't kill out of hatred. He kills because it no longer matters. His coin is a perfect symbol of his nihilism. It has no bias. It has no agenda. It simply reflects the indifference of the universe. And really, this is why I would say he is so terrifying, because he's not a villain with a motive. He's not a he's not a man with an ideology. He is simply a man who no longer believes in anything. In the end, Two-Face is not evil. He is empty, and in that emptiness, it lies his true horror.
Going to join your wife? You ever imagine what it would be like to listen to her die?
Look, take it up with a joke. He killed June, man. He made you like this.
The Joker's just a mad dog. I want whoever let him off the leash. I took care of words. But who's your other man inside Gordon's unit? Who picked up Rachel? Must have been someone she trusted.
If I tell you, you let me go.
Can't hurt your chances.
But you
I
said
said it couldn't hurt your chances. You're a lucky man. He's not.
who?
Your driver.
Two-Face's legacy is haunting because it represents the inescapable duality of justice. No system is truly incorruptible, and no man is immune to the darkness within. His story forces Gotham and the audience to confront the uncomfortable questions. And those questions are, is justice truly blind, or is it merely a mask for vengeance? Can justice ever exist in a world as corrupt as Gotham? And when the system fails, does retribution become justified? Two-Face's philosophy is deeply tragic because it is not really driven by malice, but by a broken sense of fairness. His coin flipping morality is both chilling and poignant because it strips justice of all its humanity. And in doing so, it forces us to question whether justice without empathy is justice at all. And the tragedy of Two-Face is that he wasn't born from malice or greed. He was really born from hope that was betrayed. His fall is haunting not because he became a monster, but because he was once a man who truly believed in good. His descent into darkness is Gotham's greatest failure, a reminder that even its brightest lights are not immune to its shadows.
This is where they brought her, Gordon. After your men handed her over. This is where she died.
I know I was here, trying to save her.
But you didn't.
I couldn't.
Yes, you could have. If you'd have listened to me. If you stood up against corruption instead of doing your deal with the devil.
I was trying to fight the mob!
You wouldn't dare try to justify yourself if you knew what I'd lost. Have you ever had to talk to the person you love most? Tell them it's gonna be all right when you know it's not? You're about to know what that feels like, Gordon. Then you can look me in the eye and tell me you're sorry.
You're not going to hurt my family.
No, just the person you love most. So, is it your wife?
If you put down the gun. Please, Harvey. Please. Oh, God damn it, will you stop pointing that gun at my family?
No!
We have a winner.
No, Jim, stop it!
Harvey!
Don't let
Harvey! I'm sorry! For everything!
You brought your cops?
All they know is there's a situation. They don't know who or what. They're just creating a proof.
You think I want to escape from this? There is no escape from this.
You don't want to hurt the boy, Harvey.
It's not about what I want. It's about what's fair! You thought we could be decent men in an indecent time. The world is cruel. And the only morality in a cruel world is chance. Unbiased, unprejudiced, fair. His son's got the same chance she had. 50-50.
What happened to Rachel wasn't chance. We decided to act. We three.
Then why was it me who was the only one who lost everything?
It wasn't.
The Joker chose me!
Because you were the best of us. He wanted to prove that even someone as good as you could fall.
And he was right.
You're the one pointing the gun, Harvey. So point it at the people responsible.
Fair enough. You first. My turn.
Rachel's death was my fault. Please don't punish the boy. Please punish me.
I'm about to. Tell your boy it's gonna be alright, Gordon. Like I lied.
It's going to be alright, son.
Two-Face's philosophy may seem similar to the Joker's, but it's not the same. The Joker is chaos incarnate, a force that wants to watch the world burn. Two-Face clings to a twisted sense of order. His coin is not an instrument of destruction, but of fairness. And while the Joker delights in suffering, Dent's violence is cold and mechanical, a mere execution of fate. This distinction is vital because the Joker, he seeks to break Gotham's spirit. Two-Face, he seeks to cleanse it. The Joker thrives on randomness, while Two-Face enforces it. And their ideologies are parallel, yet fundamentally different. The Joker embraces chaos as a form of liberation, as one stated before earlier, and Two-Face wields it as a form of law. And this is why, in a way, Two-Face is even more tragic, because unlike the Joker, he still believes that he is serving the law. So in the end, Two-Face is not defeated by Batman, but by the idealism that he once held. When he dies, Batman and Gordon conspire to preserve his image. They can't let Gotham see that its white knight fall, for the city still needs hope. So Dent is a martyr twice over. First for justice, then for chaos. His death is a cruel irony that he's remembered, not for the man he became, but for the man he once was. In this, Dent's tragedy is complete. His transformation into Two-Face becomes a secret, a burden for Batman and Gordon to carry. The people of Gotham never know that their champion fell, and it makes his martyrdom all the more poignant. Two-Face endures as one of cinema's most, I would say, one of the most haunting figures because he is not a villain by choice. He's a man betrayed by the very ideals he once fought for. His story is not about corruption, it's about disillusionment. He is a man whose faith in justice is shattered so completely that he embraces the only system he believes in to be incorruptible, that, of course, being chaos. And what makes Two Face so beautiful and so tragic is the simplicity of his worldview. The coin does not lie, it does not cheat, it does not show mercy. In a world of deception and betrayal, he becomes the only true honest force left. His justice may be blind, but it is also pure. So when it comes to the lessons that we ourselves can learn from exploring the character of Harvey Dent, aka known as Two Face, the lessons that we ourselves can learn is for one, learning a lot about the fragility of morality. So Harvey Dent's descent into Two Face, it shows how even the most righteous individuals, how they can be corrupted by tragedy. And it reveals that the morality can be fragile when tested by extreme circumstances. And the illusion of justice versus chaos. Two-Face embraces chance as the ultimate form of fairness, believing that justice is inherently biased and random fate is the only true form of equality. And his obsessive pursuit. So when it comes to the consequences of obsession, his obsessive pursuit of justice, it makes him susceptible to the Joker's manipulation. His inability to let go of his need for vengeance is what leads to his downfall. And the duality within human nature. He symbolizes the duality within people, the capacity for both good and evil. His coin flip represents how easily one can shift from being a protector to a destroyer, and the corrupting power of trauma. The loss of Rachel Dawes and his disfigurement, they transform Dent from the Gotham's White Knight into a vengeful criminal. And this demonstrates how unresolved trauma, how it can distort a person's sense of justice. And also the questions are and the questions that we have to be able to ask ourselves and also to answer for ourselves as well too is really, on one hand, is justice truly fair, or is it inherently biased by personal motives and emotions? And also, can one traumatic event fundamentally change a person's entire moral compass? Is randomness more just really, is it more just a form of decision making than it is human judgment? And also, does the potential for evil exist in even the most virtuous individuals? And of course, as last, is revenge ever justified? Or does it inevitably lead to self-destruction? So Two-Face's tragedy is that of a man that is broken by his own ideals. Once Gotham's White Knight, he descends into darkness, not by choice, but by force. His transformation into Two-Face is not merely a fall from grace. It is an obliteration of identity. He no longer believes in justice, morality, or love, only in the impartiality of fate. Yet, despite his descent, he remains an oddly poetic figure. His philosophy, while twisted, it carries a haunting allure. It strips away all the hypocrisies of justice, and it reduces life to its purest, cruelest form, which is random chance. The coin becomes his god, and in its spin, he finds liberation. In the end, Two Face is not simply a villain, but he's a symbol of humanity's fragile relationship with fate. He embodies the horror of losing faith, the tragedy of broken ideals, and the haunting beauty of a world governed by randomness. His coin will forever spin, which is a perfect metaphor for the human condition. So one side, which is mercy, and the other side, which is vengeance. And in that endless rotation, we see ourselves forever at the mercy of a coin that never stops spinning. And other than that, ladies and gentlemen, That does it here today with this video. And always remember that no matter the challenge, it is our duty and our mission to always be smooth, to always be steady, and to always be aggressive. So stay focused, stay determined, and keep pushing forward. And until next time, keep rising to the occasion. Peace.